Today I'm going to give a definitive logical assertion on the psychological science of MK Ultra, which is synonymous to sound wave frequencies that compromise your neurological chemistry through the television networking system and the media that propagates rap music, which creates behavioral modification, which is connected to the new gun laws, because the gun laws is a precursor to a purge by transmuting people into Manchurian candidates that keep them acclimated into the criminal elements of society that's engineered by mind manipulation, because he who controls our perception, images, and frequency control the mind of the people. Because when you break down the etymological roots of the word government, it means to control the mental, control your mentality, because they know that God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses the elements of matter to express itself. Right? So with all that being said, we finna shut this whole paradigm down because we're going to show you the reality of totalitarian Luciferian government. It works in synergy with the CIA and the rap industry, which is also connected to the conglomerate corporations on Wall Street through the Telecommunications Act that Bill Clinton signed in 1996. Right? So let me get my screen share going. So when you're talking about mind control, right, when you look up the FBI director J. Edgar Hoover, he said verbatim he doesn't want the rise of a black messenger because he has the ability to electrify the masses. Now, why did he say electrify? Why did he use that word particularly? Because the neurological interface of the brain is what basically processes information electrically, right? So in order to infiltrate the minds of people and to basically galvanize their thoughts, you have to put them in a state of mind control. So when you look at this guy right here who was a neuroscientist for the CIA and the FBI, his name is Jose Delgado. He is a scientist and he basically created a STEM receiver, which is a inner communication center that basically subjugates the mind and the frequency of it by taking over the motor cortex land of the brain, where it puts you in a state of zombification. And you wonder why you got all these young cats out here on demon time. That's because the neurological chemistry has been facilitated to an algorithmic system that basically puts them in a state of psychosis due to a brain chip, mind control. And mind control is not just predicated upon brain chips. Everything is also galvanized through the electromagnetic waves that permeate the third dimensional world. So I'm going to show you a clip here of Jose Delgado. He basically created this brain chip, and it's operated through electromagnetic brain waves, right? So let me get this clip going right here, and let's see.
Scientific milestone in this area came in the 1960s when Dr. Jose Delgado demonstrated remote control over a charging bull. By connecting a radio antenna to electrodes inserted into the bull's brain, Delgado proved that the animal's aggressive impulses could be thwarted by electronically manipulating the bull's muscle reflexes.
See, what you got to understand is that the electronics, the nanotechnology inside the brain is called electrodes, and it basically takes over the hippocampus layer of the brain and the third and fourth ventricles. So this puts you in a state of zombification to where a demon can infiltrate your anatomy. Because demons, when you understand the magnitude of demonology, demons travel through technology, right? Because technology in itself was brought back to this third dimensional world through the great aliens, and draconian reptilians, because they work in synergy. Because the draconian laws is what basically galvanizes the three-dimensional world and puts the body in retrograde by bounding you to this planet through the encryption of nanotechnology that's inside the food and the drug administration and these medicines and these foods that we eat every day, because they contain metals, and these metals is what basically germinates our bodies to the point where we are basically controlled through an electromagnetic grid through frequency waves in the atmosphere.
We could modify the inside. Could we give messages to the inside? But the beauty is that now we are not using electrodes.
In recent years, Delgado has shown that the behavior of monkeys can be altered using low-power, pulsating magnetic fields. But in these experiments, there were no antenna implants.
Any function in the brain, emotions, intellect, personality, well, could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Delgado's research has so far been limited to animals. But in the Soviet Union, a radio frequency, or RF device, has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients.
You see what I'm saying? So basically, to show you that these frequency waves in the atmosphere create behavioral modification. So like I said, that works in synergy with the CIA and also everything that's going on with these new gun laws. So in order to create this chaos and confusion on the planet, they give you the illusion of free will. They'll let you go ahead and have the constitutional right to carry a gun without a permit, because the frequency that's going to be manipulated through the rap industry, these music the music that's going to be the music that's going to be coming out basically to create some type of spiritual and mental subjugation. So when you're looking at the neurological warfare and spiritual warfare, it's going to galvanize your thinking process to where it's going to acclimate you to their system, where you carry out an agenda by destroying yourself through a system, right? So like I said, everything is frequency, everything is vibration on this planet, and the frequency that's basically being propagated through the music industry is the music. The music is being played at 440 megahertz frequency. Right, so one thing you got to understand is that the body is made up of 70 to 75% of water. So meaning that the water is a spirit molecule. It's a liquid gas because gas comes from the word ghost, and which also is connected to the cuneiform language, which means ghost. So meaning that if the water in your body is distorted by the 440 megahertz frequency, this makes you an open vessel for demonic possession, meaning that you won't be driving your vehicle. You will be in a state of psychosis because your body has been infiltrated with negative frequencies to where it lowers your vibration. It lowers all your vibrations to where a demon can basically take over your biological vessel, right? So I'm going to show you a clip. Well, I'm going to show you this picture here. So this shows you the 440 megahertz, the 432 megahertz frequency, right? And that's the 440 megahertz frequency. This is the body basically being manipulated in your water due to the negative frequency. So one thing you got to understand is that, music is a universal language, and it connects you to the divine source, to the divine energy of the planet. It connects you to the Schumann resonance and the electromagnetic grid on the planet. Because like I said, water is a spirit molecule, and 440 megahertz frequency is basically it's what basically breaks your spirit. And once like I said, once your spirit is broken, this is where demons can infiltrate your anatomy, where it can take over your vessel. Like, this is why the vast majority of people are out here on demon time. You got these young cats going crazy. You got these women out here, and they're not in the right state of mind, which coincides with the neurocardiology. Because if you're not in your right state of mind, you're not in alignment with your heart chakra, right? Because 432 megahertz frequency is basically what activates the heart chakra. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, you got brain tissue inside the heart, which coincides with the neurocardiology. So like I said, if you're not in your right state of mind, you're not in alignment with your heart, and your heart's not in the right place. So when you understand the magnitude of the 42 scales of Mayat, right? When you understand the magnitude of the scales in Mayat before you leave this planet, I'm saying your heart has got to be weighed on the scales of Mayat, right? So like I said, if your heart is infiltrated due to the emotionalism of the third dimensional world, which is galvanized by people, places, and possessions, it's basically being manipulated by these imperialistic elites. If your heart's not in the right place, you're going to be stuck on this realm, and so that's where your ghosts come from. You're stuck on this realm. You basically can't leave this planet for spiritual ascension, right? So I'm going to show you this clip of es.ə't.ɪk. He's basically going to tell you about the magnitude and the importance of frequency in the music. You see what I'm saying? Because back in the days, you used to go to these concerts. You know what I'm saying? You go to a Michael Jackson concert. People love him so much that this music, this music carried an energetic vibration that was connected to the heart chakra. Because what you got to understand in ancient occultism, the heart is the first organ formed in the body, and the tongue is basically the precursor to the heart. So this is where you get the concept of speaking from the soul, right? Because the heart is actually the seat of the soul, not the pineal gland. So they tell you that from an inverted perspective, like I said, that's why the music is not resonated with love anymore, because people are not speaking from their heart chakra. You see what I'm saying? Because the heart is also connected to the vibrational energy of the planet that connects you to the 432 megahertz frequency of the music, right? No one's crying when they're going to these concerts anymore. When you went to a Michael Jackson concert, when you go to a Prince concert, they love these people. You know what I'm saying? And when you listen to music now, all you hear is shooting, killing, all types of just dumb stuff, right? That basically puts you in a state of dysfunctionalism, right? So I'm gonna show you this clip of XXX basically breaking down the magnitude of music, okay?
Point of music. What's the point of music? Niggas don't know. It's not always to have fun. It's not always to have fun. Sometimes it's to help people find themselves, because music is frequency programming. Music is frequency. What frequency are you being fed? I will hope a motherfucker, before they go pull some negative shit out this conversation, they pull this part of the conversation, and then see that I'm really, really actually helping people, bro. Let me be detailed. At 15 years old, I was doing sound engineering. So I was playing with frequency. I was playing with equalizers. Now, I think it's not a sonar wave, I forgot, it's like an alpha wave or a sonar wave or something like that. I figured out that hertz is to understand the frequency vibration, right? So there's kilohertz. Well, sorry, there's hertz, kilohertz, megahertz, right? And then I think it's ultra hertz. If I play with those frequencies, right, I can target certain parts of the mind, target the frequency to go to certain parts of the mind, and I can literally, like, if I want you to astral project, right? You know what astral projection is?
No.
If I want you to astral project, or if I want you to go to sleep, or if I want you to go into a meditative state, I can make my music do that. These little niggas out here don't give a fuck enough to go into that science, bro. These little niggas ain't studying kilohertz, megahertz, and doing all this shit. These little niggas don't know how to equalize, compress, and do all this shit. And the ones that do, okay, maybe your music not good enough to where it got to where, or maybe you not real enough. Maybe your goal's not good enough. Sorry. There's some people out here that do that. You know what I'm saying? That do work. But maybe you ain't putting in the ambition. Maybe you ain't saying the right shit. Maybe you not you. Maybe you trying to sound like somebody else. Cause bro, it's a blessing. Hell yeah. But bro, I worked, bro. You can ask anybody around me, nigga. I worked, bro. My mom will tell you, I've been doing this shit.
With all that being said, I need you to understand, the music in itself, like I said, it's the universal language. It connects you to the divine source, which is nature. So everything in the universe works in a logistical order. Everything has a structure. Everything has a foundation and is used through mathematical concentric circles, which are energy vortexes that acclimates you to the source, which is the sun, to where you can facilitate everything in a third-dimensional realm and to create your own reality due to your vibration. Only if you're vibrating high or if you vibrate on a low frequency, because everything is a polarity in the third dimensional world. So like I said, man, music is one of those things that helps us ascend on the planet. It's one of those, it's one of the key components. Everything that they do is basically used to activate your spiritual energy. They compromise it like sex is compromised, like because they infiltrate it with the porn industry. Music is compromised because this is why they push drill music, and this is why they're giving you people like Kodak Black, Lil Durk, Lil Uzi Vert, etc. Right? These people are basically CIA agents to basically galvanize people in a state of mind control, so the elite can carry out their agenda. There's no reason why, I'm saying, people like Tekashi 6ix9ine and all these other rappers out here, why they're getting paid millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? The rappers don't have any types of substance. They're not helping anybody. I'm saying all the music is based on chaos, confusion, and dysfunction because it's connected to the hedonistic system of the totalitarian government. You see what I'm saying? So now when you see why they use Tekashi as a pawn and carry out the New World Order agenda, you see what I'm saying? Because when you understand who you are genetically, you can basically decipher the delineation between who's the enemy and who isn't. Right? Because, you have to understand that the basis of everything on the planet, it's not about race. It's not about racism. It's about genetical self-preservation. Because when you understand the magnitude of that, you can see why they propagate death and genocide in the music to make you kill off your own self, your own people. Spiritual death is the precursor to mental death, and mental death is the precursor to physical death. So if you're not in alignment with who you are, you're not going to be able to transcend off this planet. It's going to put in an encryption on your anatomy to where you're bounded on the frequency of time, and in the third dimensional world, once you die, you see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that this also coincides with the national memorandum 200 that Harry Kissinger signed in 1975, because he said verbatim that black life is a national security in the United States of America. Right? So they do, as far as their agendas, that's predicated upon eugenics, because everything is basically used to kill yourself off. It's a form of population control, which is also connected to the Agenda 2030. Everything that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? When you're looking at frequency warfare, neurological warfare, and biochemical castration, things of that nature, I'm going to show you a clip of the reality of how basically the imperialistic elite infiltrated the music industry in the 1980s because they had a secret meeting, and in the secret meeting, they basically wanted to use the rap music as a resource to galvanize black people in a state of destruction, so they could fill private prisons because somebody got to get paid on Wall Street. You see what I'm saying? So everything is basically in synergy. Everything is synchronized. Everything is connected. So I'm going to show you this clip here in a second. Let me get my screen share going.
Quickly after this meeting
Okay.
began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of the small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable in the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. Mm-hmm. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. Mm-hmm. It was also made clear to us that since...
Let me intervene real quick, because also during this time, you can see why they use NWA as a vessel to infiltrate the rap industry to basically create an influx of violence on the planet. You see what I'm saying? Because this is basically the inception of the Bloods and Crips that was going on in California. You had all these young black men, you know what I'm saying, in a state of confusion because, you know, before they transmuted into that energy, the vast majority of those people were part of the Crips and Bloods. They were part of the Black Panther Party. So basically, everything is basically created to infiltrate the mind, and if you can infiltrate the minds of people and put them in a state of, you know, on a low vibrational energy, you can carry out your own agenda based upon that mentality.
These prisons are privately owned. As they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promotes criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies. And as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room.
Also, when you understand the inception of slavery, you know what I'm saying? What is a stock? What is a bond? Right? Stocks and bondage. So when you understand, you know, that everything that took place on the planet when the Europeans came over, blacks were the first stocks and bonds. You know what I'm saying? They were the only ones in bondage in the geographical landmass of America. Because when Christopher Columbus and the things of that nature, when they came over here and they seen that it was already so-called black people in the geographical landmass, in this geographical landmass, so they put people, you know, in a state of subjugation and servitude, right? So he was, blacks were the first stocks and bonds, so that's how you know the private prison industry and the conglomerate corporations on Wall Street is basically the modern day slavery with the illusion of capitalism.
You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic. Right. Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed up. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague who opened up the meeting earlier hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. No, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said, it's out of my hands now. Just remember, you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, you know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. With a few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just, like, you know, over the years, he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
Over 2 decades.
he sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messes in their music.
Positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted. And
yeah, promote Tekashi 69, promote Little Durk, promote, you know, drill music, you know what I'm saying? They don't give, you know, recognition to the people who can really rap, you know what I'm saying? Forget about you know, the people who have substance in the name of music. And so that's how you know it's an agenda that's going on the planet, because like I said, everything is galvanized by the frequency of music, right? So this is why the rap industry in itself has been infiltrated by the imperialistic elite. So let me get my screen share going here. There's also one thing I wanted to tell you guys about the 5 P's of ancient occultism. I'm going to show you a pentagram, because everything that's, you know, controlled by, you know, this government is basically personification of witchcraft, right? So when you understand the 5 P's of ancient occultism, right, when you understand the 5 P's, the prison system, paganism, philosophy, politics, polytheism, and all these is basically an amalgamation of everything that basically puts you in a state of psychosis due to mind manipulation, right? Everything is basically galvanized to infiltrate your mind because, like I said, they know that God is the highest extension of the mind, right? So when you break down the word witchcraft, which is the word witch, you know, what is that word what does the word witchcraft mean? Craft is something that you carry an energy, a high vibrational energy or a low vibrational energy, and then you got the pentagram that they usually entrap it with the circle. The circle is basically the circular world of the third dimensional world that's galvanized by people, places, and possessions. Already reiterated that to you guys already, so that's how you know that what I'm saying. Ancient occultism, witchcraft, it's basically rooted in politics and the government, Wall Street, you know what I'm saying, in the rap industry. So this is, you know, a Luciferian society where everything is predicated upon a handgulling and dialectic principle through chaos and confusion, right? So with all that being said, you know, it's also connected to everything that's going on the planet, because, you know, you got pretty soon these new gun laws that are going to come into play when you got these negative frequencies. And these negative frequencies in the air that's infiltrating the minds of the people that connects to them on a algorithmic third dimensional world. The matrix, what you think is going to happen. The crime rates are going to go up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have places like Chicago. Chicago is an energy center. Philadelphia is an energy center, because those are 2 of the 7 cities that's basically in an alignment with the Big Dipper star constellation, right? So that's why the vast majority of the consciousness on the planet came from one of those 2 geographical land masses, right? So with all that being said, man, I just wanted to thank y'all for watching and get this video out there, because, you know, once these new gun laws, you know, start to come into play in June and July, I want you to see the type of music that's going to be coming out during the time frame where the gun laws start to be activated on the planet. You see what I'm saying? Because, you know, watch who they promote, watch what type of message they're going to try to promote through the music. when it comes to these new gun laws, because I can guarantee you it's going to be increase to the crime rates that's going to be going on the planet during the time frame. So get this video out there, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Peace.